So yeah.
Okay, I'm excited to be here. I'm Scott, and you can't see him, but our friend Vladimir is online here as well. He's behind CupWise. He invented CupWise, and it's a wonderful way of being able to taste coffees together, even if we're not in the same room. And so for you folks at home, you'll be able to make comments on the app, and you'll be able to score the coffees and also add some descriptors to the coffees. And then we can do the same, and we can all talk about it later, which is pretty exciting. So how about you folks introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Nomad and then the coffees.
Okay, so we are Fran and Carol. Fran is the head of coffee of the company, and I'm the head roaster. Yeah, we Nomad started 10 years ago.
8 years.
8 years
yeah,
ago.
8 years
10
ago.
in London, here. And yeah, I don't know. We just like to offer a wide variety of coffees and to have fun making the menu. And yeah, I don't know if you want to say something a bit more complex.
We're very excited to be here. Thank you very much, Scott, for considering us for this cupping event.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and yeah, we are very happy to be here. Yeah, and nothing else. Yeah, we have 4 coffees here to wash, and 1 natural and 1 experimental coffee. And yeah, Carol, if you want to explain a little bit about the score system.
Yeah. Perfect. So I think that everyone that is just like going to score can see like the score sheet under the video, and just like looking on the side to see it as well. And it's pretty basic. We just have 4 coffees here. So the first 2 are NEMBA and GAHAHE. Both of them are from the Burundi and different washing stations, and these 2 are washed. Then we have the IREME, which is natural Rwanda. And then we have the Brazilian one that it's a bit more experimental. And we just put it in this order to go from like the 2 washed ones, then the natural, and then the more experimental, in order to increase like the intensity maybe, or like the weirdness of the coffee notes.
I'm glad you said it.
Yeah, that's basically it. And when it comes to what we decided to put like to score, we just wanted it to make it pretty basic. Like when we do like the production cuppings or the sample cuppings, we use like different like system, and we evaluate also like the flavor, the aftertaste, and balance. But here we wanted to make something a bit like more simple. So we started with Aroma, that would be both fragrance, that it's what you smell when it's the coffee dry, just like grind. And then Aroma, which is when you pour the water and you break the crust. Then we have acidity, sweetness, and the last one, it's pretty like subjective, I would say, that it's if you like the coffee or you don't enjoy that cup that much. So yeah, it goes from 1 to 10. We hope that everything is 5 minimum. And then under it, you can put like the scriptures, like the cupping notes, or if you want to say that one is like super sweet, or whatever you feel like sharing. And yeah, this is going to give then a score number, yeah, which is pretty different to what you would get when you are doing like a regular like cupping. So if, for instance, I don't know, if you evaluate the IREME and you put like 6 or 7 aroma, acidity, and sweetness, but you don't really like this coffee, and you score like the last question with 1 or 2, it could happen that it's below 80 points, but it doesn't mean that it's not specialty. It's just like a different way to score. Yeah, but it's going to be fun anyway to see how it ends. Yeah.
Okay. There's a question on here. Somebody said they can only see the score of the NEMBA. So if you are looking at this on a mobile phone, by the way, I think the experience is better on a laptop. But if you can only look at it on a mobile phone, there's little arrows on the side of the screen. And if you tap the arrow, you will see the other scores. and you can go back and forth between the coffees, just for clarity. Tell me about your cupping regimen. I know that you use a little bit more coffee relative to water than most people do.
Yeah, we normally do 13 grams of coffee and 200 grams of water. So if people like smaller cups, like the barista Hassel ones, it's not going to fit. But I think everyone could just like adapt it to what they normally do. And for the wine setting, we make it pretty like fine, I would say. And we make it a bit finer than B16.
Yeah.
Yeah, we make a bit more of those and finer.
Okay, so I have Barista Hustle cups, and to use the same ratio as you, I used 11 grams of coffee.
Yes.
So normally I do 10 to 170, but today I will be at 11 and maybe slightly below 170. So, okay, cool. Well, for the folks at home, I'd like to suggest if you haven't ground the coffees already, go ahead and grind the coffees. We will continue to talk. A little bit finer than what you might use for pour over is fine, like Cora said, but don't worry too much about the grind. It's okay if your grind is a little bit finer or a little bit coarser than what we are using. It's not a problem. It won't have a big impact. I know there will be many questions where people will worry that there are slight differences in how they're doing it, but realistically, we will all be using slightly different water, different grinders. But one of the wonderful things about cupping is that it's very forgiving. And this is why people can cup at their lab, they can cup at origin, they can cup in different roasteries and feel confident that the results are relatively consistent. So it will be okay. So the cupping ratio, somebody asked, ours is roughly 16 to 1, but again, don't obsess. Something like 15.5 to 1, 16 to 1 in this case would line up very well with us, and your results will be approximately the same. So, okay. So maybe we can talk about the cupping process, briefly the mechanics. For instance, you have your cups covered. I don't. So there's the grinding, there's the boiling of the water, there's smelling the dry fragrance, there's smelling the coffee after we pour, and then 4 minutes after we pour, we do this thing called breaking the crust, where we use the back of the spoon to smell the coffee, and then we let the coffees cool. We taste them when they're warm, but not too hot, and then we will taste them hopefully again when they're a little bit cooler. And so there'll be many opportunities to smell, to taste, to score. I don't want anybody at home to feel pressure that they have to know all the answers or have all of their impressions in 1 minute. It doesn't work like that. And there will be plenty of time to enter your scores. You can change your scores as you go. You can add descriptors. So I just want everyone to feel comfortable that there's no pressure here. This is a 30-minute process, not a 2-minute process. So there's plenty of room to make adjustments. But regarding the way CupWise will be used here, Vladimir, please tell me if I'm not correct, but users will not see anyone's scores but their own until there is a reveal later on. And then Vladimir will press a button, and then everybody will see both their own score, but also the average score of other people. And of course, Cora and Fran and I will talk about our scores on the video.
That's right. And Nomad and Scott are in control here in the sense of when we want to reveal everybody's scores, the averages, everybody's descriptors, we will be able to do that. But at the beginning, so that you don't see what other people are scoring and it doesn't affect your own scoring, we're not showing the averages or what other people are doing. So at the beginning, you put in your own scores, your own descriptors, and after that, you will see the group analytics of everybody's scores together.
Okay, wonderful. Fran and Cora, are you ready to boil the water and pour?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. My water, I just need to top it up with a little bit more heat, and then it should be ready.
We pass directly to the aroma.
Oh, okay, ssure. So my water is finishing heating, and I'm sorry. No. So you know, I actually I should address this actually. I do want to do the dry fragrance with you, but yeah, I'll admit it's a step that I occasionally skip depending on what I'm cupping for. Of course, if I'm cupping to buy green, I'm very rigorous. If I'm just cupping casually, like it's to me, I will always do it, but it's the least important step, perhaps. I would say you will smell roastiness. You will smell if there's something very funky or weird, but I personally, my nose is not my strength, and I don't always get a lot of impression. I get like a level perhaps of intensity of aroma from it, but not a lot of details for what it's worth. But I've cupped with you. I know you are better at that than I am, so it's a more interesting step for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, for us, when we just like do the fragrance, it's more about cupping notes. That if anyone wants to start writing them on the structures, it can be like a step, but it's more about the notes than the intensity or sweetness, right?
Sure.
Good comments about the natural one.
Jonathan Gagne is here. He asked if we share impressions in the chat or keep it to ourselves. I think for the first half of the tasting, it would be good if everyone keeps most of their impressions to themselves. Otherwise, there'll be a fair amount of bias and perhaps clumping of impressions. So I think it would be great if we didn't comment too much, and then later on we can share much more openly if that's okay. Alex says, I am ready for everyone but Scott to love the natural. That's probably true. Okay. It might be good. I don't know. I had a pretty nice natural at Nomad last summer, so I'm open. So maybe it's like getting.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
The people at home can put the descriptors of the coffees now. Yes.
Oh yes. So at the bottom of the score sheet, it says my descriptors, and you can add a descriptor. And if you add a descriptor and then hit enter, you can add another one, hit enter, and later on, what we will have is we will have a word cloud that forms, so that we can see what descriptors were most common.
And just in order for people to add scores, we just you need to unlock the session. You may have already done it.
Yeah, it is unlock. So.
And the score sheet was locked, but now it is unlocked because I see some people are saying they can't use it. But so now once you start getting impressions of the coffee, you can slide with your finger and add descriptors, and everything should work now. So
okay.
Jonathan just got invited to Dublin. I have a feeling Jonathan is going to get invited to many places here. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in the chat the link to be able to score the copy.
Oh yes.
Yeah, because maybe someone
okay.
has the all link.
Right. So there was a little confusion with links. If you are a customer who bought the coffee, then there is a special link for the tasting, but the link did change at one point. So just to make sure everyone has the same link, I think Fran is going to share that with everyone.
With the name, the name Abel in the chat is me.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. So I see that now. There's a message from Abel with the link. So.
I have to use it because I was in the wrong one and I couldn't score anything.
Yeah. No,
Vladimir just reposted the scoring link, so please try that if you have any problems.
Yeah, and the idea is if you bought the pack, you would have received the link maybe in your email, the scoring link, but just if you didn't, it's in the chat.
Okay.
Great.
Federico, thank you for the invitation to Dublin. I don't think I'll make it there soon, but you never know. People are always, I don't know if this happens to you guys, people are always like, yeah, come to Sweden, have a coffee. And I'm like, yeah, that's a long
Someone
way.
just mentioned that if your scoring is still not working, maybe you need to refresh the page. I'm not 100% sure, but sometimes that may be the case.
Okay.
Okay.
Riley asked if we are pouring into all of them or one at a time. So Riley, when we start pouring in just a minute or two, we will pour in a serial fashion. We'll pour the NEMBA first, and then the GAHAHE next, and then the IREME, and then the cocoa, I believe, in that order, just like the scoring sheet is in that order. So just as soon as you finish pouring one cup, then you can move on to pouring the next cup. But we'll do that in a moment. Okay, are we ready to pour?
Yes, for the temperature, we recommend between 94 and 96 degrees.
Okay. Okay, I can't believe what just happened. Give me a moment. I'll be back in a moment.
Some problem, I didn't see.
Some problem.
I just spilled the NEMBA. Okay.
Ready?
I saw on the video on some comments that there were some problems with our audio.
Okay.
We just close the doors. I hope it's better now and there is not so much echo.
This room has a lot of echo.
Yeah, we need to put more filter.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's pour. We will start a timer when we pour. Okay, and I'm pouring pretty close to the boil. I know a lot of people are worried about temperature at home. There were some comments. If you're at 95C, 98C, it's totally fine. I don't want people to obsess over the exact temperature, and it's going to work out okay. Okay.
Let's go.
En teoría con el link nuevo sí que se puede, ¿no? Jorge dice que no puede puntuar todavía.
Refresh the...
If anyone can't score, just try to refresh and see if it works now. I was on the old link before and I put the new ones and it works, so it should work. No?
Oh, a few random details for people who aren't experienced cuppers. It's good to have a mug or a cup with hot water. It doesn't have to be boiling or anything, but hot water to rinse your spoons. It's good to have a spit cup if you don't want to swallow all of the coffee. And it's good to have some extra something so that when we scoop off the crust later, you can put it somewhere. And I would say after we scoop the crust, it's good to refresh the spoon water. This way, it's a little cleaner and there's less possible cross-contamination or taint. Okay. So realistically, if you're smelling the liquid aroma, you might take notes on the aroma, but the acidity, sweetness, I think it's premature to score those. I know some people say an aroma is sweet, but I think it's not really sweet. It's just that there's aromatics that are reminiscent of aromatics that many sweet things have.
Don't say anything. Next one.
Some people have commented that there's no crust on the first two coffees, and that's perfectly normal, perfectly fine. It happens often with lightly roasted coffees, and it can be correlated to a coffee being underdeveloped, but it's absolutely not an indicator of underdeveloped in the sense that you can't say, oh, there's no crust, it's underdeveloped. It's just something that happens with light roast coffees because they're not releasing as much gas. And I would say most of the most beautiful cups I've ever cupped in my life had basically no crust. So please don't worry about that. Raphael asked, so aroma only applies to smell? No, aroma, I mean, yes, aroma is just smells, but you will be able to get an aromatic impression both from smelling it like this, but also something called retronasal olfaction. So when you are slurping coffee and you spray it into your mouth, you will also get a lot of aromatic impression through your sinus cavity. So you could argue that the aromas are something you're sensing throughout the entire process. Jorge, Vladimir, is it possible to get decimals on this one, or is it just one? Is it integers?
This sheet is set up as integers. In general, a template can be set up to have decimals, but this one is not. Okay,
so Jorge, if we ever do a CupWise together, you can set it up however you want. This particular one, it's only whole integers. Okay, so we have well past the 4-minute mark. I'm at 5.5, so it's a good time to break the crust, get an aromatic impression, and then clean the crust as well. I think you guys are a little ahead of me on that.
So just a correction on the decimal. Somebody pointed out in the chat that you can use the slider to set whole numbers to the nearest integer, but you can use the plus minus to set a decimal.
Oh,
and this may or may not be a bug or a feature, but let's treat it as a feature. And use the decimals.
I just found out about it.
There's a question in the chat about scoring the aroma, and I think maybe it even applies to scoring everything else. What is a way to think about scoring? Like, what is something that you would score a 1, a 2, a 5, a 9? With other types of score sheets that people are more used to, we kind of know what a 7 is or an 8 is. But with this kind of sheet, what would be a 4 for an aroma? What would be an 8? How would we think about this?
I will leave this to you guys since you set up the score sheet. And actually, I kind of had a similar question in my head of what is our context? Like what makes an aroma a 6 or an 8 on this sheet?
For us, I think that it's pretty similar to when we are like cupping with like the production cupping device that we normally use, like the software. And I would say that if you go to something between 8 and 10 would be pretty special and enzymatic. So like the pretty intense floral and fruity flavors or aromas, sorry. And something between 5 to 7 or 5, 6 would be something a bit more classical, like it's sweet. And it's not just like hazelnut or chocolate, but it's giving you a bit more, but not that many stone fruits or like fruit in general. So for us, I think that we normally would consider like, if we like the coffee, we start by 5 or with 5. And 5, 6, or maybe 7 would be more chocolate, maybe some nuts, notes also, but more fruity, maybe. And then if you start with 7, 8, would be more fruity and pretty enzymatic. And 9, 10, it's a bit hard to score for us, that's right. It would be like super floral or maybe complex.
Intense.
Yeah,
Because complex.
Yeah. Sometimes we have this dilemma, I would say, or conversation when there are like two cases. Some coffees can be like pretty intense in one cupping note, so you get a lot of like pitch. I don't know. It's super intense, and then you have coffees that maybe are not that intense in one cupping note, but they are more like complex, and you find so many things, and then the temperature is just like cooling down, and you start to find more things. So for me, it would be like the higher.
Yeah.
You think so?
Okay. Okay. And to answer someone's question, I think your score should always reflect a combination of quality and intensity. So somebody asked, should we be scoring on intensity or quality? But it's really always both, because both count. Okay, so someone asked how much the aroma is maintained after 1 month after roasting. So I think the simple answer is the lighter the roast or the less development you have, the longer a coffee will last and the slower it will age. It's a little bit subjective, or it's also difficult to know how long will a given coffee last. I mean, you'll hear some roasters say, oh, we rest our coffees for 1 month, blah, blah, blah. But that's really just a way of saying we roast very light, and maybe the coffee isn't fully developed, or maybe the coffee doesn't kind of peak until later. But someone who roasts dark, the coffee could peak the day after it's roasted and then only get worse from there. So it's very variable. I'm curious, what would you two say is like typical for your coffees? You enjoy your coffee most how long after roasting?
Well, it depends. We normally cup 1 day or 2 days after we roast the coffees. But for instance, the ones that we have here are different days. I would say it's between this week and 3 weeks that they will roast, because we have different batches, and we can find like the aromas and brain intensity and all of them. And the 2 wash that we have here, they had like the crust when we pour the water, so we didn't have this problem. But it was like newer batch compared to what some people are using today.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Just say
so
that.
I'm at 12 minutes. I think you're probably 12, 13, right? So someone asked if they can taste. You can certainly taste. I'm ready to taste, but some people like to taste depending on the type of cup you're using, depending on how sensitive your tongue is. Some of us taste at 11 minutes, some of us taste at 15 minutes. It's no big deal either way, but sure, at home, if you want to start tasting, it's certainly okay, as long as it's not too hot for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
A word about tasting, if you're not used to it, what you'll see Fran and Cora do is you take a partial spoonful and spray it really forcefully into your mouth. Spraying it makes the coffee form lots of little droplets, which gives it more surface area, which means it releases more aroma in your mouth. So you'll get a better aromatic and flavor impression if you slurp and spray into your mouth. Don't worry if you find that difficult. Sometimes I find it difficult. I'm someone who tends to get like nervous. I'm gonna choke or something like that. So just do your best with it and get the best impression you can. So if you're using the flavor descriptor box, you might notice that after you hit return or enter, the tasting note appears above the box, but then you have to delete your previous descriptor. You can't just start typing a new one. Vladimir, that's correct, yes?
It's correct, and yeah, that's a bit of a bug. It should disappear, but it doesn't.
Okay. So we will work on that in the future, but for now, just please enter one, hit enter, and then erase it, and then write the new one.
And you can hit enter or use the plus to the right of the descriptor box. They'll both work.
Barbara is asking if using the Scott cupping form, would 1 represent a 6 or would 6 represent 6? This is something that I was also thinking when I was scoring. know how you both did it, but I kind of started with the 6 mentality because maybe I'm more used to it. And I think that below 5 would be also, what do you think, Fran? Because for me, I don't know, if I put a 7.5, I do it similar to the Scott cupping form. But the difference is that when you are using this score sheet, you don't rate below 6 and you can do it here. Yeah, I did it pretty similar. I don't know if you did the same.
Yeah, this system is for everyone, not only for people that know use the SCA score sheet. Yeah, it's for everyone. Is you put whatever you want between 1 to 10, and it's like the institute, the college, yeah. 8 is like a
outstanding.
Outstanding,
Yeah.
between 8 and 10, and yeah, or standard or average between 5 and 6, no?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, and and acidity and sweetness is the same like aroma. Acidity, if the acidity is complex or the coffee has a high acidity, you can put between 7 and 8 and 10. If the coffee has no acidity, below 5, and the same the sweetness. And do you love it? So here is a very subjective, because the coffee can be very good coffee, but
maybe it's not what you like to have. Like there are some coffees that you like now when cupping, but it's not what you want when you wake up, because it may be too intense or like not so mellow and balanced. I saw that someone was asking about the process of the Brazilian one. It's interesting. This coffee belongs to a category that we created on the menu this year, which is infused coffees. And are these coffees that were like, there was something like essential oils or fruits during the process. And the processing detail that we got from the producer was, it was fermented 2 times, and it's considered a wash one. So the first fermentation was done before depulping, and then they did what they call thermal shock. Then it was depulped, and it was fermented with water for like, I have it here, 172 hours. And then it was dried on raised beds for 18 days. But it belongs to a category where we have 5 coffees from Brazil, and each one of them have different names, and it belongs to like the main cupping note that you can find when you smell them or when you try them. Yeah.
For what it's worth, I am doing my best to score this like a consumer, not like a coffee professional.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying not to think about what the numbers mean at all on a sheet. I'm just thinking like, okay, if we went out for sushi and you said, how would you rate this piece of sushi? I might say, 7.5, like that kind of thing. Like just no real professional context.
Yeah, because we use this, we use CupWise in our web page, with all the coffees. So the people that buy our coffee can enter in our website and put
the opinion.
Yeah,
so
the opinion.
It's more about the coffee and general things like, would you buy it again or did you enjoy it, and things like that. But when you try to translate from like the ska cupping score to this system, I was in silence for a while because I was like, yeah, this is a 7.5. And then the cupping note was 76, which was like commercial coffee, but you have to understand that it's a different system. But it's a different way to run it. So it's not about getting like 86 for a coffee or something like that.
Yeah.
Because we have 1 here. So if you go from 1 to 10 instead of 6 to 10, the way that you are going to score it is different.
What's really good, I think, about this sheet, particularly for consumers, is that we're starting to talk about preference and not just quality. Quality is something that in the professional coffee world seems to be very objective, and there's an objective way to measure quality, but it often misses the preference, as in the coffee may be good, but as Francisco mentioned, it may not be the coffee you like. And knowing that it's something you like, I think, is as important as knowing how good it is. So it's really good that, you know, you have something like, do you love it? That really captures that a little bit.
Okay, so I'm ready to talk a little bit about these. Are you folks ready to talk?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think we need to wait for them to be cool the way we would, you know, for professional purposes. And I'm sure people are interested in commenting. So everyone, please feel free to comment about the coffees as well, because I appreciate that everybody held back so that we could be as unbiased as possible. I will go on record.
Share the scores now as well, like unlock the averages and stuff.
Let's give people a few minutes to finish that, Vladimir, because I'm not sure if everybody is scoring at the same rate, but let's give them like 1 more minute, and then just so that at least people have a notice now that there's 1 minute left to enter scores before they get locked, just in case some people were being casual about it. I'm going to go on record and say that the natural was my second favorite, so that's interesting.
I don't know if it's because it's a really nice natural or because you didn't like it.
No, it's really nice. It's nice. It's definitely good. I'm still processing how I feel about the coconuts coffee. It's actually, truly, like, it's very difficult to score something like the acidity of the cocoa, like, or even the sweetness. Like it's like, because there's this static in my brain over this other flavor that is not usually there in coffee, and I don't know how to see through it or how to score it yet.
It was also for us when we got like the samples of these kinds of coffees that are pretty different to what you would normally expect in coffees, because we find that in these kind of situations, we have to make like the extra effort of being objective and not being like, let's score everything 8.5 because we like the flavor of coconut. You have to understand like what's going on here, and sometimes we have trouble.
Yes.
Just
exactly.
Being like.
Yes, you have described the process for me when I'm cupping naturals. Like I'm trying very hard to be objective, and there's a part of me that's like wants to give it low scores, but I'm like, no. There's objective qualities that I have to be fair about, but it is hard to separate your personal preference from sort of call it the objective score. Vladimir, would you mind locking the score now that people have had a chance to finish?
I think the guys at Nomad have the control of it, so.
Oh, okay. Fran, can you lock the scores?
And the natural one is the third one, the IREME, for the person asking for a friend.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would lock the scoring as well. So now you can't edit it, because you can still edit it right now, even though the averages are on. And then once you lock it, then people can't edit it anymore.
Well, the favorite one was the IREME.
Okay, so Vladimir, what are we seeing as far as? Okay, so I see there's, if I'm not mistaken, my score is in purple, but then the average score is in like a gray, right?
That's right. So yeah, if you see the legend in the top left corner of the scoring sheet, exactly. The darker bar, the purple, is your score, and the light bar above it is the average score. And the kind of the distribution graph that you see below is the distribution of the scores for that metric.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that's a nice addition.
Yeah.
Okay. But the group descriptors, Vladimir, I am only seeing my word cloud. I'm not seeing.
No, I think we're still having the issue where I think you need to refresh the page for them to.
Oh, okay. So let's refresh the page and let's see what happens with the word cloud now. I don't know. I lost my word cloud now. Oh, here we go. Okay, great. So if at home, if you refresh the page, the word cloud will show up for everybody's descriptors. So, okay, Fran and Corey, still there?
Yeah, I should
Okay.
lock the scoring. Lock the scoring.
Yes, please. Yeah, let's lock the
I
scoring.
locked
So
it already. I locked it for you.
okay,
Sorry.
Vladimir locked. Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. No.
Some people didn't finish.
Oh, two people want more time to score.
Okay.
Okay, so but let's, if it's okay, let's unlock it for another minute and then.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of in your control.
Perfect.
Okay, I can tell you that I want to preface something when we start talking about scores. The biggest problem is going to be that we're not calibrated. Like when I've cupped at Nomad with Fran and Cora and the crew, I feel very well calibrated. In this setting, I am pretty sure we are going to be very not calibrated because we're using a different scoring system, and it's a little bit like not speaking the same language and not knowing what the words mean. So I'm looking at the distributions and the averages, and my scores are completely whacked compared to the normals. So, but I really think that is just we're all using the scoring system differently now in terms of overall which coffee is best. In terms of the relative quality of the coffee, I think that the scoring system will work because someone like me was consistently in one direction, someone else will be consistent in another direction, and it all kind of evens out. So it'll probably work brilliantly on a relative scale, but I don't want anyone at home to think, oh my gosh, Scott said this was 6, I thought it was 9, Fran thought it was 7. What does this mean? Like it doesn't mean that much because we're not all calibrated on this score sheet. So, okay. Do you think we're ready to lock and move forward?
Yes. I know. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, great.
Something really cool with the distributions that I find that I'll just point out at the beginning is that you can see the level of disagreement for a particular metric. So if you see, for example, for the cocoa, there are scores from 4 all the way to 10, and they're fairly distributed. So there's a great disagreement, for example, in the aroma. A lot of people love it. A lot of people maybe don't like it as much, and they're scoring it a 4. Whereas if you take the IREME and you look at the scores for aroma, they're much more concentrated around the 8. So you see that there's much more agreement. And these kind of things are sort of what I was hoping that we would get out of CupWise in the long run, is seeing things like this, like the agreement, the distributions, and things like that.
Okay, excellent. Let's talk about the NEMBA.
NEMBA, yeah. For me, it's very, very sweet with a lot of dried fruit, floral, and yeah, the biggest descriptors were put by me also. Yeah, like floral, yeah, floral, sweet, and dried fruit. Yeah.
That's funny. I have a feeling that mine was faded a little bit, possibly due to shipping and time, because I've had your coffees many times and I've never tasted this in your coffee before, but I have like a little bit of a cardboardy flavor and aroma I think it has something to do with the shipping that happens sometimes, because I got some nice florals and there's like a cherry, kind of like cherry lime flavor, but I had this dullness in the coffee that made it seem like it was a little bit old, which I think was probably not your fault. It was probably just a combination of shipping plus time. So that in this particular case, it dragged my scores down a little bit. I mean, I ended up liking the natural more than this one because for some reason this coffee faded more than others did.
What did you think?
Which happened?
Yeah, did anyone else found this kind of like note? Because here it was not, but of course we have like a different batch, but we never experienced.
Yeah. I'm betting that I'm possibly the only one. I tend to be the only one for certain things like this. But I also notice, like, when I work with clients, that people, I'll say, okay, give me tasting notes for this coffee, and the tasting notes are always wildly positive. And then I'll say, well, okay, so why do you want to work on this coffee? They're like, oh, okay, also there was these problems. And so I sometimes think like I'm focused on negatives because I always want to figure out to improve a coffee. But I think some people, some consumers, some roasters are focused on positives, mostly because it makes them feel good, or it's just like a mentality due to marketing and the way people talk about coffee. But to me, there was like some age on this coffee, but I don't know. So, but we tasted this coffee before, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. That was definitely, for me, that was more vibrant than this one was.
Okay.
But anyway, but it's a small thing.
Yeah, I don't know why, but the descriptor, the group descriptor, is different from.
Yeah, we both have different ones.
Oh no! Oh, you're both on NEMBA and you're seeing different words.
Yeah, in NEMBA, for example, in my screen, floral, sweet, grapefruit, in the biggest letters.
Oh, I see floral, chocolate, orange, citrus, peach are the big ones.
I see what Scott sees.
Yeah, Vladimir sees that too. Huh. Okay.
Refreshed, and now instead of
If you move the window and make it bigger and smaller, you'll actually see the word cloud change based on the size of the screen. So it could just be a screen size issue. But the relative size.
Okay. Okay. No, yeah. Okay.
All right. Do you think it's worth talking numbers, or probably not, because we can all see the number averages on the screen?
Yeah, I just refreshed and it changed, and now it's similar to Fran.
Yeah.
I have like way more descriptors than before because I have like the.
Got it. Yes, we just need to update in the app for the group descriptors to update live.
Yeah, we have to the page, right?
Yeah, the biggest one is the floral.
Yeah,
so
the biggest.
More people found it like pretty floral.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, doke. Cool. Shall we move on to the GAHAHE?
Okay.
I'd like to think, I think this was, based on the comments from what I saw, like I think this is maybe the favorite coffee of many people. Certainly my favorite. I thought this was super lovely. Lots of like zingy, fruity, berry type flavors, kind of a refreshing coffee. But yeah, not surprised. I love this one. I mean, Bourbon is kind of, I don't know, Bourbon is to me is like the dreamy variety. Like it's just always kind of super pretty and pleasant.
Yeah, what do you think about the GAHAHE?
I scored it a bit higher than the NEMBA as well, and my notes were on the floral blueberry side somehow, and then lots of like honey and stone fruit and like milk chocolate, so pretty sweet, not like cacao powder. And then yeah, compared to like the one that we scored before, the NEMBA, for aroma and acidity, I scored the same, and then I found it a bit more sweet, but just a bit. And I scored like half a point more on the final question. Yeah, and I think it's the one that I scored the higher actually.
Yeah, me too. For me, it's one of my favorite coffees ever. Every year we buy this coffee, and every year is great. For me, it's very floral, very juicy, fruity, a lot of dry fruit, and yeah, with a nice juicy body.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, to me, this was just like a beautiful coffee, like nothing, probably can't be much better. Like it was just, I would drink this every day.
Yeah, the people says about the GAHAHE floral, elderflower, white honey, white peach. The balance of the GAHAHE stand out for me.
And orange, lots of
And a lot of orange. Yeah.
Out of orange, yeah.
Yeah.
Orange juice. Okay, awesome. Okay, how do you feel about the natural?
The natural. In fragrance, for me, is very clear watermelon and grape and banana. Very sweet.
Yeah.
Good body. Yeah.
And lots of like red fruits, like cranberry, like a bit cooked, like when you are going to make like marmalade and it's not like super cold. And yeah, I think there's a lot of like grape, sweet cream, strawberry, dark chocolate.
Yeah, it's
I like
the best score coffee in this cabin, I think, no? With 71.6 average.
Yes, that's yeah. Naturals tend to win. I'm losing that battle over time, I think. I like the banana notes and the berries, and I got a little milk chocolate. Definitely like there is for those of us who are not natural fans, like there was a little ferment here, like a hint, like enough to make me a little queasy, but it was still like a very like most naturals I don't find too complex because the processing tends to be so strong, but this one at least there was a lot of different notes to pick out and it was more complex and cleaner than I'm used to, which was very nice.
Great.
Yeah, so GAHAHE got 68, natural got 71.6. Okay. I'm very curious about the cocoa because this is very hard to score, the cocoa. Like this is I mean to me it tastes, I mean it is literally like it just tastes like someone took my cup of coffee and poured something else into it and now it's like a new beverage. I confess I didn't like it very much. Like I do like the flavor of coconut, but I tend not to like I don't like coffee ice cream, for instance. Like I like coffee just to be coffee, but anytime there's like other flavors, for me it gets a little bit weird. There's actually like as it cools, like a lot of those things have softened and now it's like a little more coffee-ish. And I think some of those kind of unnatural aromas have faded a bit, and now it's like a cleaner version of itself for me as it cools. But I'd love to know, like, when you decided to buy this coffee, like what, I mean, obviously you bought this coffee knowing it would be provocative and it would be interesting. So tell me about that. Like what made you buy it and how have your customers reacted to it?
Yeah, it is very different. It is a new way that the producer are developing. In origin, there are a lot of coffees like that now. And in NOMAD, we want to be very transparent. Yeah. Transparent with that because there are a lot of coffees, infused coffee like this coffee, that the producer doesn't say that the coffee is infused with fruit or something, I don't know, essential or something like that. And we want to be clear here and say that the people that this coffee are being infused, and to be transparent, to be clear,
I think that we enjoy to bring like different things on the menu because it's funny and it's also interesting to see what's happening at the farms and what producers are doing and if they are experimenting with like new processes or something a bit like different like this one, but it's important, as Fran said, to be transparent about it and let people know why this coffee tastes so much like coconut. I see that people are saying that it's not something I would drink every day. I agree with that, but I think that it's nice to try every once in a while, or at least once, to see what's happening. And we tried some infused coffees like 2 years ago, I think it was, and the flavor was not like this one. It was pretty like chemical, I would say, or artificial. And we were not so sure about them, but then last year we tried these ones and we enjoyed them. So we decided to add them on the menu so people can try something different just for the experience. And the transparency, it's just like to let people know why this coffee is like that, but also because when you sell this coffee and then you have on the menu maybe like geisha or some limited edition that we have every once in a while, that it's going to be more expensive. Sometimes people can be like, yeah, but why would I prefer the other one if this one is a lot like coconut or like, passion fruit? And it's interesting, or for us, it's important to say that it's not about the variety or the, I don't know, the origin or whatever, but just like the process that it's being done, that it's different, and there is something that it's not going into coffee that gives this note. So for us, a bit like experimenting or playing or offering something different, but always why this coffee is different than others.
Yeah, because for example, for non-professional people, if these people found this very impressive fragrance and aroma in the coffee, yeah, for them, it's very impressive, this fragrance. So better, maybe more impressive than a geisha or a java or a exotic varietal. And then we want to say that this is very impressive for that, because they are infused coffees.
Can you explain in a simple way how this was processed?
Yeah, there was someone asking on the comments
Yes.
about if we could write it, and I have like the document that the producer sent. I will share it with you. Lo pongo así tal cual, ¿no? Let me see if I can add it. So it's written and it's a bit easier to like understand that being said. So basically it's a mechanical harvest, and then there is two fermentations. The first one is before depulping, and the second one is after depulping. And before the depulping, there is what is called thermal shock, and then it's dried.
Yeah, in the thermal shock phase is where the fruit are added.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the coffee can get all this flavor inside, because the green coffee, when we receive the bags of green coffee, is very
Intense
in green coffee.
Yeah, for 2 weeks, the warehouse was smelling like coconut.
Yeah.
And then every time that you open, or like especially the first time that you open, like we have one that it's infused with honey, like propolis. When you open this bag, it just gets wow. And it's something that it's not just like being more present on the coffee after the roasting process, but it happens like before. So it's pretty obvious to detect. Because at the end you get used to know how green coffee smells, and maybe if it's a natural one, it's a bit more winey or more like vinegar or more fruity. But this one, it's just like the same word that we have from the bags.
Okay, cool. Is there anything else you want to talk about? I think we're a little bit past 1 hour. I think we've covered most things. I don't know, any comments or
nothing else? Yeah, thanks, Jonathan.
Yeah. I mean, I like that there was a variety of coffees on the table. I wanted to do this tasting with you because it's difficult sometimes to, like, I don't mail order coffee much because sometimes I'll taste something I like, I'll order from a roaster, and then it just doesn't taste as good the next time. And I wanted to cup with you because I know how reliable you are in both your sourcing and your roasting, so I felt very confident. And also I should say, like, in wrapping up, that we're using the CupWise software, and part of doing this is an opportunity to get people to start using the software because we think it's a really great way to share cupping experiences together. So, and just to be clear, the software is mostly for roasters to use with their clients or with a larger audience. I know there's some confusion amongst people for what CupWise is, but like Nomad is using CupWise on their website, like a little bit of a score sheet so that customers can kind of see an objective, call it like a crowdsourced score. And it can be used lots of ways. Yeah, hopefully more people will get interested in doing online cuppings like this. And I also hope to see you this summer in person for cupping. So
yeah, if you want to host your own cupping, all you have to do is go to cupwise.com and sign up for an account, a pro account, and you can host sessions just like this for your own customers and even internally for your own internal cupping.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for your time and for the coffee, and thanks to everyone for joining in. And the video will be saved to YouTube, so you can watch it later, or friends can watch it later. Yeah, thanks. It was nice to see you.